Nate literally, KSI turned him, like KSI wanted to fight him. He basically just became, Nate became a total diva and just he ruined that deal. That deal is gone. It's off the table. It's not available anymore. I thought for sure he was going to fight KSI. That was the fight to make. The fight to make was KSI and Nate Diaz. He blew that deal. That deal is off the table. And that being said, then I was like, all right, well, cool. The UFC does not want him back. Conor McGregor is not fighting anytime soon. We all know that. And so I basically threw my name out there and I said, hey, why don't we just get down? I know that San Jose will put it on. I know San Jose promotion. I know in San Jose we could sell that arena out. And I just know. But I also said, hey, John knows. I've talked about it on this promotion. I've talked about it on this show plenty of times. I'm down to do BKFC. So the BKFC is I'll do that as well. And I know that BKFC has offered him a lot of money to fight. And that's something that I'm interested in. Scott Coker hit me up, and was asking me like, hey, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? And I just said, bottom line is I think we can do good numbers. I think we do really good numbers in San Jose. And if we do good numbers in San Jose, then, I think we can do really well. We can do really well. You put a couple of big-time locals there and have a good time with it, man. And whether it's boxing or whether it's BKFC, I'm down.
Hey, I just look at it this way. I'll come back and ref you and Nate because I like Nate more than you. And, and you can do BKFC at one of Coker's MMA shows.
Mm-hmm. Well, John, it's funny. I wanted to say something, man, but I wanted to tell you this is that, I reached out to some people at the UFC, and I think word got back to Dana because I always wanted the Cowboy Cerrone fight. I didn't get a retirement fight because John robbed me of it with the headbutt. So I never got a retirement fight. So I basically said, like, hey, I want that Cowboy Cerrone fight. It sounds like, from what I understand, I'm getting feedback from guys, that work within the UFC, that I need to get a win over a Nate Diaz, or I need to get a win over another fighter that just left, and I may be able to get back into the UFC to fight Cowboy Cerrone.
So hold on. So now you have to have a win to prolong your comeback, of which was never going to happen.
Yeah, look. if when Dana says get a win over Nate Diaz and I'll let you back in, that lets you know that Nate Diaz is not going back to the UFC.
Yeah, that's
because first off, he's not going back to the UFC because he can't beat me. That's one thing. And so that we're just going to have, John, let's be honest. Like, I was touching him with the hands. The kick was just a bonus. Now we get rid of the kicks, and it's easy work. It's easy work.
Okay, all right.
So look, Nate comes out and says, "Yo, thirsty bitches are out here." Look, it's fun.
You know what I loved? You know what I loved about this? I love this right here. It was somebody asked on X.
Oh, Grok, yeah.
They said, hey, Grok, what do you think Nate's referring to? I guess like they weren't in the loop with what's going on.
Yeah.
And Grok had a really good, accurate response. Nate Diaz posts, thirsty little bitches out here, likely refers to Josh Thomson's recent call out for a rematch, given the timing and the term thirsty fitting Thomson's eager challenge. It could also target potential UFC opponents like Conor McGregor or social media fans, but there is less evidence for these. The post ambiguity leaves room for interpretation, with Thomson being the most probable focus. I thought that was great, man.
So now I got to put you in the same equation as Conor and John. You're just putting shit on social media just to stay relative.
No, John, I'll fight. The difference is, John, is that I will fight.
You will fight, huh?
I will fight because, look, I really do. Like, doesn't matter what anyone says. I want my retirement. It's been eating at me. It's been eating at me for the last probably, 3 or 4 months, maybe a little bit longer. But I was like, I don't really see anything going on. But then I had a couple of meetings, and I talked to a couple of people, that are in with the BKFC and also too with the UFC. And they're like, yeah, he's not going back to the UFC. And BKFC's offered him a lot of money, and he just keeps kind of like, oh, okay, I'll get to you when I have time. And I've always had an interest in BKFC. You know that. I've told you that. It just gives me flashbacks of like when I was a young kid fighting in the streets. Like, there's no gloves. There's nothing going on. Like, let's just see what happens.
Apparently, David Feldman's aware of your call out, and he's meeting with Nate this week, is what I read.
Oh, did you? I didn't see that. Yeah, so I mean, like,
well, if you want, here, let's just do this. I'll give you David Feldman's phone number.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not against
it. Give him a text. Say, hey, Dave, this is Josh Thomson.
Look, Dave Feldman needs to think about two things. He needs to think about how we can do it in San Jose or in California, in the Bay Area.
We can do it in California.
Or I know we can if it's BKFC. I know we can. Or, which to be honest, for me, I would rather do it in the Bay Area, but I also don't want to pay the state tax. So, John, so Texas is looking really good. Texas is looking really good. But look, I think if Dave Feldman can't get it done, I know that guys like Scott Coker would be interested in having that conversation. I've already chatted with Scott a little bit, and there's something there. There's something there. And and look, when guys like when Dana or other people are kind of buzzing like, hey, all you got to do is beat Nate, and maybe you'll see Cerrone and Thomson. Let's see what happens.
You're all getting all giddy again now. Look at you.
Come
on, baby. Look at the smile.
You know what's funny, John? This is what's funny is that I had a bunch of people going, "Hey, man, look, Thompson needs money," and I'm like, well, everyone needs money. Yeah. Well, not only that, John, but then I'm getting a pretty big fat settlement from the class action. So I think
I'm feeling pretty good about it.
I think everyone's going to be okay for a little bit. So,
well, they might be right. You might need the money with the travel you're doing for this damn lacrosse team stuff.
Lacrosse is killing me, man. It's killing me, bro. It's killing me. Denver, Vail, back to Dallas. Now I'm on my way to Pennsylvania. I'm in North Carolina now.
Well, hold on. Just since January, I know you've been in San Diego.
Yep.
I know you were up north for something. I thought it was the lacrosse. You've been freaking in Dallas, obviously, doing it there. Yeah. Colorado, now Pennsylvania. That's a lot of travel around the country, and it's not a small country.
No, he's a 10U kid. He's 10. He's 10. Dave, get ready, buddy. Get ready, buddy.
Dude.
Dave, get ready. Look, I'm having a blast though. Son's loving it. We kind of pulled him a little bit out of soccer, so he's kind of taking a break from soccer. We're gonna still do soccer though, like they're just not travel soccer.
What happens when your son wants to play football when he gets to high school?
So we're gonna play flag football coming up. I'm okay with him playing football when he gets to high school. All the kids, people should know this.
I said that because we had talked and you said you didn't want him,
I don't want him to play football, but look, I'm not going to stop him either.
Okay.
Here's the thing, though, is that I'm not going to let him play until 7th grade because kids in Texas now, they don't play tackle football until about 7th grade. So a lot of the parents, the new generation of parents are like, they can play 7v7, they can play 7-on-7s, or they can play flag, they can play all these other flags, they can play other football. They don't need to play tackle until 7th grade.
I agree.
And I'm actually 100% on board with that. Their necks are stronger, their body is physically stronger.
Just everything.
Yeah. I mean, I'll take it, man. I'll take that. So, John, let me ask you this: what's your take on the Nate Diaz thing?
I think here's the problem. Yep. Nate's in a position where Nate has made a lot of money. Okay, now he didn't make a lot of money in his last fight. He didn't make what he was supposed to. But
he did get majority of it. I do know that.
I know he did get money, and it's a lot. I'm not saying it's not a lot. But it wasn't everything he was, look at it's almost like you count your money before you have it. So he was counting it before he had it. And then when he didn't get it, that sucks. So I think he's looking at, all of these things, am I going to get paid? I was promised to get paid something. I didn't get paid what I was supposed to get paid. So I think, he's in the position where he's got, not a whole lot of time left, but he's looking and saying, okay, what's the best thing for me to get that one last big payday? Is it Connor? But I'm just being honest. I don't see that fight ever occurring again. There's a whole lot of things that, make it to where it's going to be very difficult. And I'm not going to get into all of them, but that's one that because, of where people are at and promotions and contracts, it's just not an easy fight to put together right now with the way things are. So I really look, and then, the whole thing with him in the Bay Area with you. And honestly, I think, look, if you're going to sell that fight, you need to go to the Bay Area. You guys need need to be either in Stockton, or somewhere in the Northern California area. That makes total sense. That will sell. You're both popular there. You both have had great careers.
John over here trying to get me killed, having me go to Stockton to fucking fight his ass shit.
I will go to Stockton with you, dude. I will take care of you. But it is. You're looking at, the fight makes sense for him, and the fact that I'm going to be honest. Look, you heard him in the MMA fight with your head kicks were killing him.
Mm-hmm.
Now I take those away. It's going to be a little bit different fight. You know why? You know, it's not like, you have the same tools to work with. And so if I'm him, I'm looking saying, dude, I got length over him, the range, everything. Okay. Yeah, it's a good fight for me. So, it's one of those, I don't see why he wouldn't take it if the numbers are put before him that make it to where, as long as I'm going to get that and I'm going to make sure I'm guaranteed to get this. And he'll be smart about it. He does have people around him that take care of those things. Yeah. I just look at it, it's a smart move for him. Yeah, it's a good fight for you.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. And not just that. Look, there's another fight out there too that I'm like, I wouldn't mind if it was the Anthony Pettis fight too, because that was supposed to be for the UFC title.
Yeah, but it doesn't do as much.
Doesn't do as much, and it'd be harder for me to sell that in the Bay Area as it would be the Nate Diaz. The Nate Diaz being from Stockton, me fighting Gilbert so many times, me already beating
the scrap pack.
The scrap pack. I got nothing but respect for the guys.
And I'm being honest, I think the Nate fight sells better than if you were going to fight Gilligan. I don't think Gil would sell as much.
100%.
So I think if there's one fight, and it's because you beat him, and you beat him handedly, you look and you go, man, that's a great fight. One that he could get back possibly. He's got an opportunity to. That makes it to where, you're looking saying, okay, then he's going to take it serious because I'm not going to let this happen again. Yeah. That's going to be his frame of mind and stuff. And in the Bay Area, I don't see a better matchup for you or him, possible. So,
yeah. Hey, it's there. It's there. It's available, and I'm ready. I'm ready if you want. So set a date. Let's do it.
Big John's gonna ref it.
You know what it's like to get me. I tell people all the time, look, the people will say stuff. Why'd you retire? Why'd you do this? I retired because I got tired of flying. I would tell promoters. Promoters would say, I said, what do you want to make? And I said, look, you're not paying me to referee. I'll referee for free. You're paying me to get on a fucking airplane because I can't stand it. It drives me crazy. And I just did that class. Trust me, nothing but troubles. fucking with the airlines. And I'm just, I can't stand it. But as much as I hate flying, I will be at your fight because I'll just drive. I'll just drive.
It's fun, man. Like I said, this for me is one of those fights where if you guys go back and watch the 5th round of my second Gilbert Melendez fight, that's how I plan on fighting this fight. Like that when I come out and start, it's just going to be like, hey, I got nothing to lose. I just am enjoying the moment of knowing this is it. Like this is what Dustin Poirier wanted. He wanted his fight in New Orleans. He wanted it against a legend, against someone he respects. That's what he wants. And guess what? You're going to bring the best out of me. That's exactly what you're going to get. You're going to get the very best because I know it's going to be my last. It's going to be my last.
Would you let your son watch live?
That's a conversation for me and the wife.
That's a conversation you don't want.
Yeah. I mean, you know what it is I think what it would be is I will definitely not let my daughter watch, but I think with my son, I'll have a conversation with him. And John knows my son. You both know my son very well. I can have a great conversation with him and I'll tell him like, there's going to be a good chance that I get hurt, I get cut, I get bloody. I just want you to be, or do you understand? Do you want to watch this? Do you want to see me bleed? Do you want to see me get hurt?
And you know what he's going to say.
I don't know.
Hell yeah.
Yes, you do. Yeah.
I mean, I think he's going to, of course, want to be there. I just want to make sure he understands what he's getting himself into.
Sure.
That's all.
That's the way to do it.
But yeah, look, if you guys want any feedback on this, you guys can hit me up in my DMs. Just repost all the stuff that we've been talking about. The Dave Feldman situation, I'm definitely interested in that. But I think Scott Coker is also, like I said, reached out to me. And if there's any chance of doing it with anywhere, I mean, obviously San Jose is the place to go. So I think, like you said, Bare Knuckle can go to California. They're able to do shows in California.
Yes, they are.
And I know that they have been willing to pay up. And I think that's one of those fights where with Nate, like there's no kicks, dude. Like, I'm taking away the thing that puts you to sleep. Shin to the dome. So let's go ahead and let's run it back. Let's see what happens. Thirsty or not, come get it. Let's do it. Anyways,
This episode is brought to you by BetUS. Make sure you guys YouTube 150, YouTube 150 for the promo code. Also, Element, use the link in the descriptions down below. Any product you buy from there, they will send you a bonus package of product if you use our link down below. Element's amazing, man. I love it. And I want to say thank you, man. Thank you guys so much for continuing to support us.